kind of focuses in on a temple village, and we meet our first protagonist here, our monk friend. Which one of you is the monk, and what's your name? The monk's name.
That would be me. His name is Dane, or that's the name he goes by.
Right. So yes, our camera zooms in on Dane. And what does Dane look like?
He is human. He is about 6 foot tall, probably about 180 to 190 pounds. If you've seen, probably take a cross between I was trying to think Carradine's martial arts skill with Taylor Lautner's looks. And by Taylor Lautner's looks, I'm talking about, the second Twilight film or later.
Okay, you'll have to describe it to me because I don't know.
Okay. Oh crap. I'll get a picture for you of Taylor Lautner then.
So yes, we start our story with Dane. He is a young monk in this monasterial profession, and we come across him having a conversation with what we would assume to be his father. And his father says to him, he puts his hand on his shoulder and he says, Dane, you've spent many years here. You've spent many years training. The time has come. We need to send a caravan out. A caravan filled with the goods we have to offer here from our monastery. Among many other things, these include many hand-woven baskets made by our wonderful basket weavers here that we've grown to be known for. This is the first caravan to have gone out of here in many years. As you know, the land is troubled. He takes a moment to pat himself, to adjust himself when he says that. And he takes a stern look at you and he says, "You are one of my most capable children." He hesitates. "I need you to go with this caravan. We're sending many of our warriors with this caravan. We know not what is out there. However, when your task is completed, when you've delivered the caravan to Nala, and they have successfully sold their goods and done their trade, they will come back. However, you will not. No, your life lies on a different path, my son. You must go out into the world and forge your own destiny." And as he says that, he chokes up a bit. And he tries to remain composed, even though he's visibly stressed at the thought of sending one of his children out into the world of the unknown. And he straightens himself up again and he says, "I expect you to do your finest. You've been trained well."
Master, you seem to want me to stay in Nala. Is there something there that I should be seeking?
He says, "Only that which you seek." Your destiny is your own.
Will I be allowed to return here?
You will know when the time is right to return. It's time you broke free from here, and you sought your own place in this world.
do I sense any kind of, for lack of a better term, I'm trying to sense. I guess I want to sense motive. I'm trying to figure out if where coming from. Is there something he's not? Is there something he's not telling me that I can kind of sense from his reactions or from his demeanor?
If it were anybody else, I would have you make a roll for that. However, this is a man who you've known for many years. You know how he comports himself. You know how he speaks. You know his mannerisms. And for all intents and purposes, he is completely serious, and he is not trying to be misleading. He's not... he's genuinely... You get this sense from him that this is kind of a forced thing. It's a very cultural thing for him, where you've kind of come to this point in your life where, you know, you're 29 years old, you're almost 30, and it's time for you to go out. As much as his soul doesn't want you to go, he knows in his mind that it's what has to happen. You can.
Okay, so this is his equivalent of a parent seeing their child off to college.
Precisely.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. It's like I was trying to discern if his reaction was because there's something he's not telling me, or was it just like you're talking about? It's just he knows that it's time for me to spread my wings and go out.
Yeah,
so
it's much more like it's time for you to forge your own path to. Yep.
Okay. All right. I would assume that I would still call him master, even though he calls me son. Kind of that teacher. I see it more. Even though I've been very close to him, I still see it as a teacher-student role for me, while he sees me as a father-son role. So my reaction would be, the master, I shall endure to make you proud in my journey.
He nods and gives a faint smile, and when he does, the camera backs out again, and it shifts over to the transition from a rough mountainous terrain to a deep dark green swamp, and we get a flash of something running in this swampish forest. At first you see what would appear to be some type of animal shoot across through trees, and then followed closely, only a couple seconds behind, what would appear to be a bipedal humanoid creature chasing after it. It jumps over a small mound, and for a brief moment, everything goes silent. And the humanoid chasing this creature stops and listens. Korak, I need you to make a perception test for me.
Okay, perception. Okay, 3d6. And that is 9.
Okay,
not the best.
his ears wiggle a little bit, and he sniffs and he breathes in, and the thick, muggy atmosphere of this swamp is severely inhibiting his ability to use his senses naturally. As he does that, the camera kind of swoops around, and we get a good look at his face and who he is. Korak, Tony, what does Korak look like when we see this?
Okay, he's a very young orc. He is very muscular. He's leather armor. He is got a bandolier with flasks of oil and daggers through it. He has 2 throwing spears on his back, and he's carrying a long spear. His tusks protrude from his lower jaw up toward, sort of a perpetual sneer, if you wish, sort of, always, very intimidating in a way. So, and I would say he's probably pretty scarred up. I mean, he's spent the last 6 years in the arena, so that's.
And had you shared with me, I'm looking right now, I have your sheets up and everything, but I'm not finding you had sent me a backstory for him, correct?
Yes.
All right, I'm not finding it right. I'm not sure if I didn't download it on this computer. I did on my laptop and not here, but for some reason I'm not finding it right now.
Okay. You want me to go through the backstory real quick?
Not yet. Yeah, could you resend it to me?
Right. I should be able to send it through the chat.
The chat in Google Hangouts, probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, they've really scaled back on what you can do with Hangouts, unfortunately.
Okay, I'll do it through Facebook.
Yeah, I'm logging back in here. If I can remember my password. There it goes. So yes, for that short moment, as he loses track of this creature he was chasing, all of a sudden it makes a loud noise as it barrels through some bushes. And when it does, it sends debris from the bush, leaves and moisture kind of spring out from it into the air, and it continues to run. And Korak begins to again chase after this what would appear to be a large stag with large horns. He has made his way through the mountains of the Troll Claw Mountains, which in and of themselves are very difficult terrain to survive. And we catch up with him. He's clearly hunting this animal, presumably for food. Once Korak chases after this stag, and he continues to run after it. And then there's another moment where the stag hops over another mound, and Korak stops for a moment so he can get his bearings straight. Roll another perception check for me.
Okay. So that's an 11. A little bit better.
Okay, and this time he stops because his take on this situation, he gets this overwhelming feeling of not necessarily a trap, but not safe. He gets this overwhelming feeling of this is dangerous. There's something not right about this. And almost as that stag clears the mound and goes just out of sight on the other side, not a moment later, he stops, and then he hears a loud and a quick whinny from the stag he was chasing, and all goes silent again. When this happens, our camera zooms out from there, and it goes over to another forested area. This one not nearly as swampish, not nearly as dark and lush and green. And we zoom in on our other friend, who is currently alone. What would Tarask be doing alone in his abode?
Taresk's abode is this rudimentary place, just kind of stones heaped on top of each other in a circle with a thatched roof. But his days are mainly spent picking up usable pieces of wood. He finds nappable stone. He carries water from the local stream up towards his house. So at this moment, I think you would see him doing just that, placing down a bucket sloshing with water at the side of his house and wiping his brow and wiping a spill off of an overly nice tunic of leather. And just taking a glance around to check out his home. He's usually careful, and locals aren't fond of him, so he's always on alert.
Speaking of being always on alert, you two can roll a perception check for me.
Me as well? Okay.
Nope, just Taresk at the moment.
Oh, okay.
17. You just add them all straight up, right? It's just the dice pool straight add.
Yep, your intuition dice pool, and then any skills you have in perception. Your perception dice pool, basically. So intuition plus, it looks like you've got a 1d6 in perception, so intuition is
So
3d6.
4d6
Yep.
is what I rolled. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Then a 17.
Cool. So your
Maybe gives you +2.
yeah, and so your elvish ears perk up, and you hear from a very far distance the plodding of footsteps on the ground coming towards your location.
So I would quickly step around my round hut and reach in through the open window where I know my longbow will be, and just grab it from inside the window and pull it out. I'll put my one foot on the bottom and push down. Won't quite string it, but I'll pause to listen and be almost at the point where I will have strung my bow.
Okay, and are you trying to hide, or are you just standing right out there in the open?
I think I would be standing right out there in the open. This is my home, and I'd protect it.
Okay, about 10, 15 seconds goes by, and then coming up over the horizon, maybe 150 feet away, are 3 Sylvan Elf men approaching, and they can see you far off in the distance, and they stop, and one of them you kind of see him squint a little bit. You know, at least that's might be what you think he's doing, and he kind of waves your direction.
So my foot would start to ease off the longbow, but instead of unstringing it, I'll just reapply pressure and finish stringing the bow, and pick up the bow and start walking in their direction. Putting it away, I will take out an arrow and not knock it, but just hold it between my forefinger and the haft of the bow.
Okay, as they approach and you approach, you see that these are indeed elves from your local tribe, or however you might refer to it as. And they are standing there. They have some sacks on their backs, some belt coin pouches attached to them, and they kind of, as you get close to them, they say, hey, we aren't here to fight.
So I'd say, well, that's a first then. So what do you want?
They say, we are coming here because there is a caravan coming. The first caravan to come from Palais in many years. We are warriors, but not like you. You know this land far better than we do. Perhaps this once you could come with us.
So, Karask would laugh. You are going to leave the village. That's funny. I've been exiled for leaving that. Why would you come here and ask me to leave with you when you know it will only get you a fate like mine?
They said one of them, who's a bit younger, blushes a little bit when you kind of scoff at them and everything. He's clearly intimidated. The leader who's been speaking, he'll kind of straighten himself up and he'll say, "No. We are on a mission from the tribe. They have many goods in this caravan. We have been sent to go purchase from it."
Leaving the village, sanctioned by the tribe. Well, that's interesting. I never thought any of you would ever get permission to walk out there in the wide world. Thought you'd be cloistered here forever. Well, what's in it for me?
He said, "Oh, certainly we thought of that, and we have money."
So I would kind of look around back at my house, look down at my armor, kind of maybe thinking, maybe I shouldn't have spent so much on this armor here. That was a bit stupid. Okay, I find myself light on coin for the moment.
And
I want to know if I'm aware of how far away that is and how long it'll take to get there.
if you ask, they'll pull out a map and they'll show you. They had gotten information. There was apparently a messenger that had gotten sent out to spread the word, as it were, that a caravan would be coming through and making its way down to Nala, and along the way, it would be selling its goods to those who would meet it. And they show you the projected path, and it goes directly through it comes out from Palais, which is on the eastern side up against the sea, and they have to go west because they cannot go south. The way from the south is not traversable, so they have to go west, kind of around an inlet from the sea and down through the swamp. And they would be passing by your village's location maybe 20, 30 miles out. And that's where they plan on going. They plan on going to the least threatening part of the swamp as they see it to meet along the path of the caravan.
Okay, 20, 30 miles. So that's like a day's run out, day's run back sort of thing. Maybe two.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so I would look at them and I'm obviously on a meta level, I'm not familiar with the way coin works here. So I would basically tell them I would just ask for a reasonable amount. And I would just say, well, for that amount, I could take a jog out for a few days with you. Just give me a moment. And I would just turn around and, again, I could barely even step into my house. It's not that big. I could probably reach across it from the door and hit the other wall. So I just grab a backpack and shove a bedroll, a few extra arrows in my quiver, and that's about all I'd be taking with me. So I'd throw that pack on me and say, are we to go then? I think they'd be a little surprised that I didn't need a few more minutes than that.
Yeah, they seem like they didn't really know what to expect, and so they look. The younger one looks relieved and ready to go. The older one looks the one who's been speaking looks kind of aghast, like, okay, I guess we're going then. And the other one is just kind of following the leader. He's the same age as the leader. You might know them from the village. They are brothers. This brother isn't nearly as assertive as the leader is. And the young one, you don't know who he is. But you all begin making your way out towards the area in the swamp. Our camera goes back to our caravan, and it has left the monastery village and began its long journey out from Palais, around the inlet, and into what is now referred to as the Blighted Vale. As they begin to make their way into the swamp, it grows very dark. It's hot, it's moist, it's damp, dense. The smell is almost unbearable, but it's not so bad that that it would cause instant vomiting. But it's just the smell of rotten foliage and the occasional whiff of dead animal, rotting corpse comes across the nose. And as the caravan, which is about 8 covered wagons large and about 50 a combination of Sylvan elf and human and small folk accompany along the sides of the covered wagons. And they get down into a particularly kind of isolated part of the swamp. They get in there and everything feels very closed off, almost like the feeling that you get when you're in the forest and it has just snowed, a very heavy snow, and when you speak, your voice doesn't travel at all. It's very much like that. And from the back of the caravan is heard a scream. And Dane, you would be one of the leaders, as it were, of the caravan. You would be up front. Why don't you make a perception test for me?
Okay, so 3d6. And I know nothing. I rolled an 8.
Okay, so you hear and sense the commotion going on in the back. But it doesn't grab your attention. You seem far more focused on making your way through this part of the swamp. It isn't until the commotion begins to grow to the point of you can no longer ignore this. And when you turn around, you see a good number of your compatriots just vanishing to the side, with something pulling them off to the sides. And for just a moment, you see the flash of a creature come out from the swamp and grab one of them and pull them down in, and they scream as they go down in, and they get crunched down in there. And the rest of your group, who the guards of the caravan, draw their weapons and they stand at the ready, and one by one they begin going down, getting pulled into the swamp by these creatures. I want Tarask and Korak to both make perception checks as well.
I got a 14.
I got a 14 as well.
Okay. Tarask, when the stag jumps over the mound and gets crunched, it isn't but a few more moments later. Korak. I'm sorry, Korak.
Okay.
When the stag goes over the mound and you hear that crunch, it isn't but 3 or 4 more seconds as you take that sound in and you listen, that you hear the very faint sound of screams coming from another part of the swamp. And then Tarask, as you make your way in to the swamp, and you've been traveling for several hours, you too hear the faint sound of screams coming from not too far away in the swamp.
Do I still have those guys with me?
Yes, they are visibly shaken. All three of them.
Okay.
The young one is literally shaking.
So I would, I'd look back. I would notice that and just kind of shake my head. They're not going to be of any use. So I just say, stay here. Let me see what this is. And I would be at this point, I imagine, trying to be as stealthy as possible.
Okay, go ahead and make a stealth check. That's going to be agility plus if you have any skill in stealth.
I don't. So it's a good 3d6. So that's an 11.
Okay.
That was an 11. Sorry,
Yep. Yep, and Korak, what do you choose to do the moment you hear screams coming from afar?
Well, since something else ate my dinner, I guess I should go and help these poor, unfortunate people that wandered into this area. So I will head in that direction. Nothing stealthy about it. I'll be heading out at a run. Basically reaching up and grabbing one of my throwing spears as I head out.
Fantastic. Everybody roll initiative.
How do you roll initiative? That's just intuition?
Yep, intuition plus any skill in tactics or reactions.
Okay, I'm going to have to get myself some. I'm going to have to grab some D6s at some point because this your die roller in the app is it's not friendly. 9.
Oh, well, I promise you, it's random.
It's running on the Will Wheaton. It's running on Will Wheaton random. Then
12.
Correct has a 19.
All right, let me grab something here. That's what I usually have open. And that I forgot to open this time, so just a second. And I will get everybody's initiative. So first, Dane, what did you roll for your initiative? 9? Dane, Russell.
yes, that was a 9.
Okay. Oops. Okay. Just don't have any of this set up, so hopefully this won't take as long next time. All right, let's see. Next would be Tarask. What was your initiative roll?
Mine was a 12.
Okay. And since I don't feel like looking it up, how many hit points do you have? What? I'm sorry, what was that?
36.
36. Okay. And Korak, what was your initiative roll?
19.
Oh, nice.
And then my hit points are 30 as well. 30.
Okay. All right, I just need to roll for these guys. Okay, Korak, as you make your way towards this caravan, sorry, hold on. Got it. As you make your way to the caravan, or the sound rather that you heard, you begin to see off in the distance these covered wagons, white tarped, over-covered wagons, and as you begin to make your way towards the screams and you see people getting pulled out, right in front of you, out of the swamp, pops up this large lizard-like creature with these large eyes and a long snout and jagged teeth. Why don't you make a logic test for me? See if you have any skill in history or nature, or anything like that, to see if you would know what these are. Because you might know what these are.
I mean, would survival be?
Not this time.
Not this time. Okay. So I'm going off of straight logic, and that's a 2d6. So
I'll be back in just one moment.
Got a 10.
Oh, okay. I heard you, Russ. So yes, you had heard tell of these, and while Korak probably isn't much of a word reader, maybe a little bit more of a picture book reader, you would surmise that these might be basilisks that you'd heard tell of in your time in the arenas.
Okay.
And you would know a few things about them. One, that they have thick hide, and they are just dangerous as all hell.
Right.
As it pops up in front of you, you have a moment to react.
Okay. I will launch my spear.
All right, go ahead and make your attack roll for it.
Okay. So that would be agility. And I'm throwing it, so I have throwing. Or, well, I have spears, so that's 5d6.
Yep.
That's not the greatest. 14.
Yes, that's a hit. Go ahead and roll the damage for it.
Okay. Question I have on thrown damage. The spear is 2d6 plus 2. Do I add for throwing, do I add the strength modifier, the plus 3?
No, I would add your skill in spears.
Still, okay.
Yeah, for ranged.
Okay. So, okay. That would be 6 total.
Okay. So the spear, it came up maybe 10 feet in front of you, and your reflexes, you pull out your spear and you chuck it towards it, and it catches it, kind of like, if you think of its form as kind of a quadrupedal alligator type kind of thing, because I mean that's basilisks, they're kind of like fey alligators, as it were.
Right.
It hits it because it's on its two back hind legs. It hits it kind of in what would be considered a shoulder, the neck shoulder type area, and it sticks in, but it clearly was mostly stopped by its thick hide. You definitely contacted and you dealt a little bit of damage, but that hide is so thick. You have another action, my friend.
Okay. So I'm within throwing range. I think I am going to. I have my long spear in my hand. I will close with it until I am like 10 feet. 10 feet away. So try to keep it at bay that way.
Yeah. It's your long spear's got reach. It's already
Right.
about 10 feet away. So
Okay.
you don't even need to move. You throw and then you grab out your long spear and you're gonna go for the throat, as it were, or the underbelly.
So I can attack it with that.
Yes.
Okay. And so that is 19 to hit.
Yep, that's a hit. And keep an eye out, everybody, for 666s.
Okay. And then is it too late to say that I use Deadly Strike when I do this?
Oh, no, that automatically gets applied. Why don't you roll a one? Because did you roll that for the damage with your spear?
No, I did not.
Roll one right now. In fact, just add it. Or, yeah, did you just roll it? What'd you get?
It was a 6.
It was a 6? Okay,
6.
yeah. So that spear went in a little further than I had initially described. Maybe it hit a little closer to its chest.
Okay. And so the damage for the long spear now is 13, 18.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you you shove your spear into its belly, and if it weren't for that thick hide, you know you would have gutted it right then and there. Blood begins to spew out from it. The swamp water underneath it begins to turn bright red, and maybe not bright red because it's dark. And you pull it out, and it just kind of howls out, and then it's the basilisk's turn, and it will rather try to come back down on you with its jaws. It just tries to snap at you.
Okay.
He gets a 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yep.
It's a hit.
No, it's not.
No, okay, so his first hit, you manage to just kind of parry his snout coming at you. What he does then is he'll turn around and try to snap at your head with its tail. Let's see, 6, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Nope.
Okay, you duck out of the way out of that one. And then we shift over to the caravan. Wait, who's next? It is Tarask, our hunter friend. You make your way into the woods, and you get close enough, and for a moment, you see a basilisk pulling one of the guys out from the caravan. And as you line up to take a shot, you begin to feel the water around you shift, and you can feel what feels like a current underneath your feet, and then you feel a bite at your ankles.
Those damn ankle biters.
Right? 14, 17, 18. Is that a hit?
All right, so 18. Yeah, that's definitely a hit.
Okay. Yes, he grabs a hold of your ankle for a whopping 3 damage.
Okay.
Another bite comes at your other ankle. I'm just going to start rolling this on my program here. Let's make it a lot quicker. Let's see. 18 again. So that's a hit for 11 damage this time. So, are you still up?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Can still be.
All right. That was their turn. On you, Dane, you are confronted with one of these beasts as it hops up onto the trail that you were traveling on, and it hisses at you and begins to charge at you.
Can I just say that after I was bit, can I exchange my bow for my sword?
Yeah. Swapping weapons are all free actions.
Okay, great. Sorry.
Yep. You're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, thank goodness that's a free action.
Yes, Dane, one of them comes at you from the side as you're transfixed on this one in front of you. And it rolls a 21 to smash into you.
Oh, it absolutely smashed into me.
Okay, it will hit you for 8 damage.
Okay, so I only take 3. So I'm at 27.
As it smashed into you, it disappears on the other side of the trail down into the swamp. So he won't get another attack this turn, but when he hit you on the side, the one in front of you came charging at you with his tongue slavering out and everything, and comes to chomp down on you to take advantage of this moment. And it gets a 17 on its attack roll.
And it hits me too.
Okay, for 6 damage.
Okay, so just 1, so I'm down 26.
Okay. Next, we have Tarask.
Okay, so I would having my short sword out, I'd obviously be looking down at what bit me. Do I see anything?
Um, make a perception check.
13.
Yes, you do. You see that there is one guy who's just kind of been, or one of these basilisks who's just been going on your one foot, and then when you pulled that away because it hurt, it went for your other one instantaneously. So he's right down there. Oh, I think you're muted, my friend. There you go. Now I can hear you. Oh, I lied. I can hear somebody else. I can't hear you.
I was going to say, I think it's time for a little kebab to Basilisk.
Okay.
There he is.
Back. It's just Hangout's lagging on me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try to drive the short sword down, straight down into the Basilisk.
Okay, I'll since you're technically, tall and you're technically about 5 feet above it, add an extra d6 to the attack roll for it.
Okay, so the attack with my short sword is it's the strength, right?
Or agility, whichever you choose is higher. I think for you it would be your agility.
All right, so that's a 16.
Oh, nice roll. Yeah, that definitely hits.
It's 2 5s and a 6. All right, and now it's with the bow, it's just the weapon damage. Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm not using the bow. What am I talking about? It's short sword damage. I swear, he's not crying on your guys' turn. It's just my turn. When you guys are talking, he's totally quiet.
That's all right. I love it.
All right. Okay. So my short sword is 2d6 plus. Oh no, just 2d6. So that's a 7.
You add also your. Do you have any? Okay, your strength is higher, so it'd be +2.
Because plus 2 more. Gotcha. 7.
Well, no, I meant +2 static because you have a 2d6 dice pool in your strength, so you add the 2 to your.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it'd be a 9.
So 9 damage.
Yep. Yeah, you stab down at it, and it doesn't like that. You definitely connect with that first strike. You have another action.
So I'm imagining it's kind of like whipping around now below me. So I took that first jab, but now I'm just going to try with a slashing motion to just make sure that I get a good cut into whatever I can catch below me.
Yeah, now I'm looking at your character sheet, and I'm giving you an extra d6 for being up above it, so it's not very hard to hit. And if you're using your agility to swing with your short sword, you'll get 3d6 from that, and 1d6 from your sword's skill. So you should be rolling a total of 5d6 for your attack roll.
You're right, I was rolling 4. $16, 17.
Yep, that's a hit. So you're like, stab, slash, get away.
So that's another. Okay, so now, another 7 damage. So as I rake the sword across, I definitely feel it catch something. I don't know if it's hide or flesh, but it definitely catches something.
Yes, it certainly does. And it is Dane's turn.
All right, so I've got one right in front of me, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so charge up, left hook, right uppercut is my full action attack.
Okay.
So 3d6 straight 3d6. First attack was 11. Second attack 9. Okay, I'm getting my own dice at some point. Because I have a feeling I didn't hit.
Okay, so just so we're clear here, you're rolling your fists, which
Right.
is okay. So 2d6
Should be
for
a
your
three,
agility for your agility, and then martial arts
1d6.
is yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it would be 3d6.
Yep.
Trying to think if there's any way I can give you any bonuses on the rolls, but I don't think there is at the moment. So one of them hits. So you can roll
Okay.
the damage for one of your fists.
20 points of damage.
Oh damn. Yeah.
2 6s and a 5.
Yeah, that's nuts. If you have any luck, you can toss a luck dice in there too for a damage.
I got 3d6 of luck.
Up to you. I was just reminding you, you've got luck dice you can toss in there too. If you roll a 6 on a luck die roll, it explodes.
Okay. I'll hold that off for the moment, but I'll remember that for next time. If that's going to be for that boss fight down the road.
Yeah, so you smash into that thing with your first hit. You just kind of come at it, and as you do, your fist just kind of like grows this aura around it, as though you're like pushing the air out of the way with energy, and you smash into its face with a right hook, and then you actually hit it so hard with your first one that as you were coming down with your combo, you missed with the second one because it pushed it back with your first hit. That brings us to the top of the round with Korak.
So this one is still standing in front of me.
It is, just barely.
Okay. So I will then help it along with the long spear again. So that's 5d6 to hit. And that is 10, 17.
Yeah,
Hit.
yeah, you got no problem hitting this thing.
Okay. And so with the deadly strike, that is 19 points of damage.
Yeah, it's after you had stabbed it in the gut, and it yelps out in pain, and it splashes down in the water, and it tries to turn around and swim away, but before it can, you jab your spear down into the water, and you basically skewer it. You just run it right through, right in the chest, full strength with your spear, and you pull it out. Then you look up, and you see more people fighting with the basilisks up on the road ahead, and you have another action.
Okay. Could I grab my throwing spear as a free action as I run by towards the road to help out? Okay, so I will do that and run to the road. I'm very quick. Since I'm outdoors, I'm running at 10. So I don't know how long that would, how close I am to getting there.
It depends. You are outdoors, however, you are in kind of swampish water, so it's difficult terrain. Okay. So I would say that probably negates the fact that you're outdoors, but you're still fast. You're not slowed all that much by the swamp in a general sense. But you're able to make it to the road. However, you're still about 30 feet down the road from where you see this human trying to kill one of these things with its fists. Okay. And yeah, as you make it to the road, you witness him clocking it in the side of the face, and like you see it visibly like take the impact and it clearly did a lot of damage. This whoever this guy is clearly a warrior to be reckoned with. Speaking of that, the basilisk that is in front of you, Dane, will try to trip you with its tail. He only gets an 8. Which
he misses.
By default, too low. You've got no problem jumping over his tail as it comes around. However, surprisingly, he snaps back and lunges at you with his snout and rolls a 17 for his attack.
Yay.
Does that one hit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He will snap onto you for 8 damage as he runs his teeth across your arm.
Is he locked onto me, or is he just... Okay.
Nope, he definitely got you with his teeth, though. The one, let's see, there's 2 over next to Tarask right now, right? Or was it just the one? Oh, it was just the
I
one.
believe you said it was one. He bit me on one side, and he went over and bit me on the other.
Yeah, that's right. He will attempt to grab hold of your ankle and pull you under.
I think I'm going to just try to resist with a strength check to pull my leg back up.
I'm just using your static melee defense score. He still only rolled an 8.
I see. Gotcha.
Yep. And yeah, because for him it's kind of an exploit. He's going to try to grab and pull. But it cost him 2d6 to do that, and he only rolled an 8. So not able to grab hold of you, whether it be because of your armament or the swamp, like, not kelp, but, you know, the swamp grass getting in the way of his bite. He will splash up out of the water and attempt to actually use its claws on you. And this is the first time that you've really seen one of these up close. And as it does, it gets up on its haunches, or its hind legs, and it doesn't have the short, stubby arms of an alligator. It's actually got fairly long, certainly longer arms than you had anticipated. And they're long and they're lanky, and they've got these wicked long claws on it. And he splashes up out of the water, and he just tries to come down at you with its claws. And it gets a 12 on its attack roll.
Okay, so that misses.
Okay.
Because I have my swords, right?
Yep. So when he comes down with his claws, you're like, oh crap, and you use the hilt of your sword to just kind of parry it as it comes down, and you knock him off to the side. The one in front of Korak is dead, and there was one other that is going to hop out of the water again towards Dane and attempt to bash into the side of him. This time rolling a 15 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, and he will hit you for another 5 damage.
Oh, none at all then. My soak is 5.
All right, so he actually gets stopped by your... so he smashes into you, but you don't move. You're like, boom, and you absorb all of the shock from him, and it stops him from going out the other side. So now you've got one next to you and one in front of you.
Okay.
And with that, it is Tarask's turn.
So I shoved this basilisk to the side with the hilt.
Yeah.
I imagine he landed kind of on his side or back, and I'm going to try to jump on him and take advantage by just taking my short sword and, you know, like a madman for his heart, kind of try to drive it home.
Yeah, now he didn't land on his side or on his back. He did kind of land. If he had an elbow, he would have. He kind of came down like this, and he's coming at you like this. You got your sword, and you bash it to the side. So he's coming down, and he's landing on his right paw. Everything. So if there's a moment that he's impacting on the ground, and you can seize upon that moment, I'll give you a plus 1d6 for attacking him. Basically, he's not helpless, but he's certainly not in the most defensible position.
Okay, so then kind of the same move. I'll try to jump almost like knees first onto his lower back and try to drive the short sword between his shoulders. So that is 11.
Yep, that'll hit.
Okay.
Your attack finds purchase.
So now for the defense, right, it's not plus swords, it's just the sword damage itself, 2d6, plus the
the size of your strength dice pool or the size of your swords
Right.
dice pool, whichever is larger.
Oh, right. That's why it was. Okay, dice pool. That's what I was missing from the story. All right. 9 plus 2, so that's 11 damage.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. All right, yeah, you manage to basically, you almost climb on its back and you just start to try to skewer it, and its thick hide prevents you from going all of the way through. But you are on its back, and basically you have this moment where you've dealt this amount of damage to it, and you realize that you might be able to finish it off in this moment, and you have another action.
So I'm gonna, basically this whole thing will have gone really fast. I'm just gonna thrash twice like a madman. So the first one hit, and let's see if the second one does. Do I still have the bonus dice for being on his back?
Yeah, add 2d6 to the roll this time, because you've essentially positioned yourself in a way that makes this thing unable to defend itself.
So it's gonna be 10, 15, 17. So it's 19.
Did you roll triple sixes on it?
No,
No,
triple
okay.
sixes, bunch of 5s. And that's 7 plus 2, so that's 9 more damage.
Oh, you're just unable to finish it off with that, unfortunately. Yeah, you kind of come down on it, and you start to skewer it, and some of its hide comes off, and you lift your sword back up again, and you try to slice across it, very easily hitting it, but the weapon is just incapable of puncturing its hide very deeply. Unless there were to be like a lot of pressure and force applied at once. We then have Dane. Now you have 2 basilisks on you.
Okay. First attack will be on the one that's already injured. I'm essentially going to try to heart punch him.
Okay.
So that'll be the first attack, and then I'll determine what I do next after I see what I do with this hit or with this attack. So 3d6. Come on, 3 6s would be awesome right now. 9.
9 to hit?
Yes.
Nope.
Okay. So I have no choice. I'm going to have to take the second attack on him as well, because my focus is to take him down. Shit, nope. It was an 8, so didn't do anything.
Okay, yeah, both of your attacks, they come towards this basilisk, and it's able to kind of parry your blows. One with its snout, you're kind of like whoa, and you go to hit, and it just kind of.
I should have used feint. I should have used feint to take a 1d6 bonus.
And you come around with your other one, kind of on a downward strike, and very quickly it spins around and bats your hand away with its tail. And then we're at the top of the round with Korak. Korak, you see this happening right in front of you. You see Dane, rather this monk, almost surrounded by these 2 basilisks, having a hard time. And they're about 30 feet out.
Keep forgetting about the mute button. Okay, so since I'm only 30 feet away, and I'm on the road now, it should be easier to get to. So I will move up behind the one directly opposite the monk to gain the 1d6 for flanking.
Yep.
And I will stab it in the back with my long spear. And
You're looking to be an 11 is what you're looking for.
okay, so yeah, I have 17.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to spend a luck die on damage.
Make sure you know what one it is you picked, because if it rolls okay, cool.
I didn't get a 6 on it, but 10, 13, 16, 21 points of damage.
Yeah, you combined with the damage dealt by the monk in front of you, you're able to skewer this thing right through.
Okay, and as I did that with my exhibitionist exploit, I replenish my 1 die from my luck pool.
Very nice. And you have another action, unless that costs an action to do.
Nope. No, it just every time I defeat an opponent, I get 1 dice back, 1 luck die back.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah, so Dane, you basically you see this basilisk almost like it's toying with you, and as it's parrying your blows, everything, and then it kind of like you see a smile form on. If it could smile, you feel like it's smiling at you, and it kind of comes up, it rears up to come at you, and then you see the spear stick through its belly, and then it drops to the ground, and you see this orc standing in front of you who takes a second action.
okay, and so the other one is next to him, so I don't get the flanking bonus for it.
I would say you do, because and my logic on that is that basilisk is currently focused on Dane.
Okay, so I was 1 off of 3d6. So yeah, I 22 to hit.
Yes, that's a hit.
A side note, it's awesome that you get a bonus for killing things. That's freaking awesome.
16
Damage.
damage. No, 21 damage again.
Oh, very nice. So that doesn't kill it, but it does. You manage to rake your spear along its side and tear off a line of hide that exposes this green, kind of under, like how we have like when our skin gets peeled off, it's red muscle tissue and everything. For them, it's this bright green, flubbery looking mass underneath this hide material, and you just rake across its side, and you pull open like a 2 foot wide, or not wide, a 2 foot long gap on its side, exposing this, and it tweaks out, and it tries to trip both of you.
Okay.
So it will sweep around with its tail, and it gets a 12.
Nope.
And Dane, does a 12 hit your melee defense?
Yes.
Okay. So you fall prone.
Lovely.
You don't take any damage. However, he is going to get an extra... I think it's
1d6.
No, it's 2. It's 2d6,
2?
which he will then subsequently use to add to damage. So he's going to roll his normal attack roll, but will roll an extra d6 for damage if he hits. He gets a 19 for his attack roll, and he will hit you for 10 damage.
Ouch.
Korak, you see this monk get taken down as he's he's kind of taken by seeing you stab this thing, and you pull it out, and you're like, "Rah!" And he's kind of like stunned for a moment, and in that moment you see him go get taken down by the basilisk, and then the thing just pounces on him and rakes at him with its claws.
Okay.
And then I think we have the basilisk next to Tarask. Will again attempt to... It will splash up out of the water and attempt to rake at you twice with its claw attacks. The first claw attack is a 17. The second claw attack is a 20. I'm assuming they both hit.
Yeah, those are both hits.
Okay, for a total of... I want you to double your soak score for this, because I'm going to roll both damage. So double your soak against a damage of 15.
I just realized I didn't write down the soak for the leather armor, and that's why I didn't apply it before.
Well...
Yeah,
There's 5, I think.
It's 5.
Leather's 4. Studded leather's 5.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
So
let me put that in there too. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no
Okay,
problem.
So 4 is my soak.
Yeah, so for in this case it'll be 8, so you take 7 damage total, accounting for your soak. So you should be at 15?
15.
Cool. Okay, that's its 2 attacks, and we're down to Tarask. It is your turn. You've just been clawed twice by this thing in front of you.
So now it's standing in front of me, so it's gotten up from underneath me, and it kind of reared up in front of me. So I'm kind of like on my knee, and it's like right in front, maybe even taller than me when I'm on my knee. I'm not sure. How tall is it standing on its hind legs?
Standing up on its hind legs slashing at you, it is like 7 feet tall.
Wow. Okay, yeah. So it's definitely over me on my knee. So I still have my sword in my hand, and I'm basically going to try to aim for the weak side of its underbelly that it's exposing to me at this time. All right, so 4d6 gets me a 17.
That's a hit.
It does 3 damage.
So your first attack, you connect with it, but it just scrapes along its hide and does nothing.
Okay. And then I'm gonna kind of, I think I would almost like get a little nervous for a second. I'm really close to this thing. And so I'm gonna try to go with the way my sword went and try to put myself at least slightly to the side so I'm not directly in front of it now.
Really
And
quick.
take another shot at it. Oh, yeah.
Really quick. It shouldn't have been possible for you to get 8 or 3 damage, because if you're rolling 2d6 plus 2.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. So it was 5 damage. I didn't add the 2.
Okay, so yeah, you hit it for a 1 point of damage.
1 point. Okay.
Yes. There we go.
Okay, yeah. So, so I'll still be making a second attack, and that is a 12.
That's a hit.
And does 6 damage.
Okay.
Well, 6 for damage.
So the way this plays out is you, it kind of hits you twice and everything, and then almost reactionary, you do a backhand with your sword and you cut across its belly, barely doing any damage to it. But when you do that, you spin back around, and as you spin back around, you flip the sword so you're holding it backwards, and you stab it from behind you, and you run your sword through the spot you just opened up on its belly with your first slash, and then you pull it out, and it falls down dead into the swamp behind you.
Very nice.
We then have Dane.
Okay, so I'm prone. What's the standing rules on this?
It just takes you a move action to stand back up.
Okay, I have a better idea. What's the position of me to the basilisk? In other words, I know I'm prone to the ground, but is it standing over me?
It is. It's currently you're kind of like guarding your face, and it's slashing down at you with its claws.
So I'm essentially I'm essentially in guard on my belly.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to roll over. Both attacks, I'm going to go either side of him. The idea is I'm going to target the gash that's been left, and then hit the other side. So essentially hitting his soft underbelly. If I make contact, then being able to rip his guts out. And I'm going to use my feint for this, so that gives me an extra 1d6 to attack. So that will give me an attack of... That makes my attack 46.
Yes. And you're looking to get an 11 or higher.
Right. Got a 12 on the first attack.
Well, if you're using feint, then that was one of your actions.
Oh, okay, so I got one shot. Okay.
Yep.
So the one shot that I took is going straight into the gash that was left by the orc.
Yes, so you will essentially bypass all of its natural soak by targeting that area.
Right. And so 4d6 plus 2. 16 points of damage.
So, Korak, as you finish shearing open this thing's side, it kind of hisses and then it stares at you. And in that moment that it stares at you and you make eye contact with its eyes, eye contact with its eyes. I'm going to need you to make just a second.
Uh-oh.
A willpower test. And if you have anything that you think you might be able to add to that, let's see. I would add survival to that.
Survival? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's 3d6. Okay. And
plus 1d6, so 4.
well, it's will is 2d6 and then 1d6.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong sheet. Yeah. Okay,
Right.
so
Okay, and I have a feeling I want to make this. So I think I'm going to add a luck die to that.
okay.
I think that's a smart move.
Okay. Ooh. 12?
So
I think you're about to retch.
yeah, no, for the moment you become entranced.
Okay.
And you're basically stunned.
Right. Okay.
And you'll have to shake it off, and your target number to shake it off will be a 14. However, as soon as it turns at you with this malice in its eyes, and its eyes grow bloodshot and begin to glow a little bit, and you stare into its eyes, and you become stunned, not Korak, Dane's fist comes up from underneath in this bright, luminescent light and just basically punches its stomach out, and it just kind of shears it in half almost, and its lower part of its belly goes flying off in one direction, and its top part just slumps down on top of Dane, and he's kind of covered by the inside, the innards of this basilisk.
Okay.
But that doesn't change the fact that you are currently stunned. However, that was the last basilisk. So we come out of initiative, and basically, Dane, what are you doing right now as you have this top half of a basilisk resting on top of you?
I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to pick it up as best I can and throw it off of me, and then slide out from underneath the rest of it and stand up. I realize I'm covered in basilisk guts and blood and everything at this point, and there's not much I can do about it.
Yeah, as you stand up and you look at the orc who had helped you, the first thing that you're struck by is the fact that this is the first orc you've ever actually seen. You've seen pictures, you've heard tell of orcs, but orcs are extraordinarily rare in the mainland, and to see one up close and personal and to witness its combat prowess was both frightening and awe-inspiring at the same time. However, he currently seems to be frozen still.
Okay. Do I know why he is frozen still?
You can make a logic, and if you have any nature to add to that or anything like that, test. While you make that test for me, I need to know what Tarask is up to after you have. So basically, you've killed this basilisk in front of you, and maybe about 50 feet away, up on top of the road, you can see. You see this monk basically shear this basilisk in half from below, and you witness all of that play out, and you're kind of left there with a decision to make as far as what you do next.
Well, I think the first thing I would do, so I would drive that sword back, and I would pull it out of it, and I'd whip the blood down and sheath it, and I would kind of instinctually start to look back towards the three guys that I had left there. They're from my tribe, and I did come with them. I'm going to look kind of back again over at the scene that's occurring over by the mutilated basilisk corpse, and think, well, that was really impressive. I'm going to see who these guys are instead, and kind of turn over back towards their way and jog the 50 feet over.
Yeah, when you look back to find your friends, they are nowhere to be seen. The ones that you traveled here with.
Not surprised. Not surprised at all. I just kind of shirk it off and just head over towards these more interesting possible travel companions. And see a cleric looking over this seemingly frozen orc as I approach.
My roll is a 15, by the way.
You can pretty much surmise that this is something unnatural that's happened to him. You're not.
Could I potentially slap him out of it?
You can help him, yes. However, before you help him, I want him to make a test to shake it off. It will be a willpower test, and your target number will be a 14.
And so I have a 2d6 on this.
Okay, I'll let you add your survival as well.
And that is a 14 on the nose.
Okay.
Nice.
Very nice. So, yeah, as Dane is winding up to slap you in the face, you're able to kind of shake yourself out of it a little bit. You're still addled.
Right.
However, for the moment, you can, function.
Okay.
Dane, he's still visibly shaken, but he seems to be aware. He seems to have shaken off the most severe of the effect. It's up to you if you continue following through with the slap or not.
At this point, I won't.
Okay.
If I see him shake himself out of it, that's fine. I mean, I'm guessing he kind of looked, for lack of a better term, he looked kind of had this blank look on his face when he was in this position.
Yes.
So I probably would have seen him come out of it and start getting some sense to himself.
Great. Dane, as you kind of regain, because for a moment there, your eyes kind of glazed over, and it was almost like for a moment, I'll describe it in kind of a meta way. For a moment, you felt like you had the flu, and you'd just taken, you're just trying in the middle of the day to take a nap, and so you feel really crappy, and you're about to fall asleep, and so that is the what came over you, and that's what stunned you. You're like, huh? And you try to shake it off, and you're able to shake it off a little bit, and then you look up and you see this monk standing in front of you, kind of adjusting his hand and looking at you, and then coming over from your right hand side, you look and you see a sylvan elf with a bow strung across his back, making his way towards you. And as he comes up to you, the three of you meet for the first time. As you take an assessment of the caravan, Dane, and you look back and you see what's happened, there are maybe 5 guys left in total.
Oh, wow.
And that's including the caravan drivers. So, including you guys, there are about 8 of you here in the swamp currently.
And how many wagons in the caravan?
8.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, 2 of them are tipped over.
Okay.
With baskets and apples and various other things you had been bringing to sell strewn about and sinking and ruined in the swamp.
Okay. So pretty much it's safe to say that those 2 wagons are going to be pretty much best thing to do will be to obtain what we can. That's pretty much salvage what we can, and then we're going to have to just leave those be and honor the dead.
Yeah, that'd probably be your take on the whole situation.
Okay. So with 6 carts, that means there's one there's one that does not have a driver available.
Yeah,
If I'm understanding you right.
unless you drive one yourself or
one of these guys are able to. 'Cause
yes.
I don't have anything in terms of I don't have any skills for driving carts.
Yeah, and they had been pulled by horses. I mean, you guys can assume that kind of thing with the caravans and all that kind of stuff. And there are a few horses sheared in two throughout, and some floating bits in the swamp and what have you. But the ones that didn't get killed were really unable to get away because they were freaking out, but they couldn't find a place to go. They basically reared up and they tried to run, but as soon as they would step in the swamp, they had no place to go, and then they had no place. So a lot of them are also visibly shaken as well.
Okay.
As you all are standing there, let's have a moment where the three of you have, I mean, you can choose to or not, but dialogue. So I want to give you a chance that if Tarask, you were going to say anything, or Korak, if you were going to say anything, or Dane, to any of each other, we would have that moment.
I would actually look over to the orc, take essentially an Eastern style bow to him and say, "Your assistance was greatly appreciated."
He will spin his spear point down and bow his head to you and say, basically, that was a very nice move at the end there. Thank you. I am Korak the Spear Bearer, pride of the arenas in Nala.
I am called Dane. I was asked to join this convoy for protection, and as you can see, we still got overwhelmed.
You should not be in the Blighted Vale. It is dangerous here.
I've been somewhat sheltered the past 8 years, so forgive me for my lack of knowledge of the geography.
Tarask would be keeping fairly quiet, but he would, noticing some of the nervous horses. Are any of them near enough by to be able to be hearing them while still approaching?
To be hearing who while still approaching?
Be hearing the conversation that they're having while approaching one of the horses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you would still be able to hear what they're saying while going over to a horse. Yeah, no problem.
So kind of listening to them, but not listening to them. I'd be kind of approaching the caravan. Can I try to just ease one of these nervous horses? I have skill with animal handling.
Yes, certainly.
I roll a 14, and
Okay.
I start stroking the neck of one of these horses.
You're able to calm it down. You're able to, they're in pairs, and so you're able to calm both of the horses down, and they are visibly calmed by your presence. And, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna stroke that horse, and it's gonna calm down, and I'm gonna kind of over my shoulder just call out, did you say your name was Dane?
Yes, what is yours?
Tarask. Well met.
It's very well met. Thank you for your help.
I think I was on my way to meet just this caravan. It seems I was just in time.
Yes, it appears that we had visitors that were a little more unwanted.
Just approaching their group a little bit closer, I'm going to also approach the orc and say, and what was your name again?
I am Korak the Spear Bearer.
As he says, Korak the Spear Bearer, about halfway through saying spear bearer, he says, correct the spear, and then all of you need to make perception checks for me.
And perception is based on intuition, correct?
Yep.
Okay. I got 10.
Okay.
10.
14.
Tarask, you are the only one that seems to catch on that in the it must not be too far away, because you hear the rustling of bushes and what sounds like almost a small muttering voice. And it sounds like it's scampering off.
So I'm kind of going to freeze suddenly, but just then my eyes will flicker at them and say, there's something else here.
There is something else here.
Where did you hear this, or where?
I would point over in that direction. I'm not exactly sure where it is. Is it across the path from the caravan?
It is kind of the direction that you point is over in the swamp water, so it's kind of confusing.
So it's back the way we came.
Kind of more back the way that Korak came, but Korak came kind of from, like, if the path was going this way, Korak came this way, and Tarask came from over here, and Dane was here on the path. So you guys kind of converged from these three different directions, and the sound is coming from over here, over in another different, in the other direction. Kind of if Tarask had continued walking over the path, he would be going towards the direction.
In relation of my position, is it behind me?
Yep, more to your right.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're facing down the road, it'd be to your right.
Okay.
Okay. So now that we're aware of that, can we do another perception check? I will start heading that way.
Yeah, you all can. If you all start making your way to that direction, then you can.
Oh, wow.
Nothing.
I am going to kind of
Is there a critical fail?
sidestep a little bit.
Did you roll 3 1s?
I did.
No, critical fails aren't a thing, because basically it would, like, as your dice pools get bigger and bigger, there's obviously the higher chance of you rolling 3 1s, and so that's like there'd be no point in having critical fails.
All right. So I see nothing. I'm completely oblivious. So.
And I'm not much better than him. I rolled an 8.
Okay, this one is more of an opposed check here, so it's not necessarily automatic failure if you roll badly. Tarask, you said you sidestep off in another direction, or?
Yeah, I'm just gonna move, like at a flanking angle, because I'm the one who knows exactly where it is. So I'm gonna use my exploit nature's camouflage.
You cut off there.
Cut out on us.
It's funny seeing your fingers go up towards the screen. It's more of a laggy dropout. I think you're back now.
Yep, there we go.
Yes.
Okay. To the speed, but I'll be effectively invisible at a distance of 30 feet or greater.
Okay. All right. So what I want you to do then is to essentially, this will gain you an advantage on your perception test, because normally nature's camouflage would be something that would increase your chance of hiding, basically, and make it more difficult for people to find you. But in this instance, you're kind of combining it in a different way. So I will let you add 1d6 to your perception test as you make your way using nature's camouflage to see if you can head this creature off, whatever it is.
Okay. So I roll a 6, 7, 8, 13.
Okay, there we go. Yes, the creature rolled an 11 for his stealth, so it wasn't all that high, but Dane and Korak weren't too awfully perceptive in that regard. Perhaps there's too much blocking your vision, and you step off to the side, and you pop up in front of this creature moving, and when you do, he and before you stands this short, it's a small folk man, and he's got this gray hair, a goatee that goes down into a short braided beard, and you notice he's moving very slowly because one of his legs is a peg leg, which is currently about, well, if he's like 3 feet 5 inches tall, his peg leg is maybe half a foot tall, and it's currently about half of its way in swamp water. You'll notice that the underneath the ground in the swamp is kind of rolly, and so he appears to have a path he's been walking. He's been apparently observing this the whole time he's been out here, and you pop up right in front of him and you startle him. And he says, sorry. It wasn't me. I was just watching.
I think I'm as shocked as he is, because I'm looking at this small folk, and I'm thinking, one-legged, half-sized, pint-sized little thing out here, and we just had like 5 basilisks attacking full-size warriors. And I just kind of shake my head and say, what are you doing out here, and how are you even alive?
He has glasses, and as you ask him that, and you're kind of looking him up and down and everything, you notice he's got a sack in his left hand, and as he begins to talk to you, he'll slowly kind of put that and notch it on his belt loop behind him, or he'll kind of, and he'll bring his hand back out in front of him, and he says, well, I was just out here, and I was just harvesting components like I do every single day, and I had nothing to do with this. I hope you're all okay. It would seem pretty nasty out there. Are you all good? You don't need me, right? I can keep going? Can you get out of my way?
Have we caught up?
Yeah. At this point, you guys have made your way, and you hear him asking to go to make his way out of here.
So I'm just gonna look to these guys and just shrug.
What type of components?
Like, what did he put on in the?
I asked him. He said that he just harvesting components.
He said he turns around and startled that you started speaking behind him. He's like, oh, there's more of you. Oh, well, and he adjusts his glasses and he says, well, and at this point, when he turns around to look at you guys, Tarask, you can see the thing that he had hooked onto his belt pouch behind him is dripping and sopping wet with this greenish red droplets coming off of the bottom of the sack. And
Can I grab it?
Yeah, you can grab it while he's talking, so I'll have you make a roll really quick in just a second. And he'll turn to Korak and say, well, I was just out here harvesting. Hey, what are you? And go ahead and make your test to see if you get it basically before, because he'll feel you take it off, but it's going to be an agility. You can add I don't know. What do you got? Anything? Not really.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
no.
just a straight agility. How quick can you grab it?
So that's a 9.
He catches you before you are able to fully pull it off and everything, and he kind of turns around and he smacks your hand. He's like, "What are you doing? That's mine. You don't touch. You're a thief. You're a thief. You're a bad man."
I just kind of chuckle and put my hand up real quick. Just go, you're dripping, man. Well, not man. That's vernacular. I would say your pouch is how do I say oozing.
He said, "You don't worry about what's in my pouch." And as he's saying that, now you two he has his back exposed to you two once more, and you also see it oozing basically from the bottom of the pouch.
Does it look like basilisk blood?
That would be, well, why don't you make a logic test to see if you can surmise what might be dripping from there.
Okay. Can I add my survival?
Yeah, nah, probably not this time.
That's 6.
Yeah, you're.
I'm not the most logical.
You're just kind of like her.
Yeah.
But Dane, you could also roll to see if you care about the sack at all. You can roll a logic test to see what's oozing from it. If not, then don't.
Let's see. Let's see. With 3d6, I'll go ahead and give it a shot. 12.
Yeah. You kind of look at it, and that greenish tint to it says to you when Korak tore open the side of that basilisk and you punched it out, basically, this looks very much like the same type of thing, and whatever he has in his bag is related to a basilisk, for sure.
Okay. Let's see. I'm looking at my skills and seeing if any of my skills would allow me to get any kind of further idea. I don't know if my divination or religion would help me make a discernment as to what he would potentially be using this for. Because my next option after that is, does he look like he's ready to bolt?
He is very uncomfortable at the moment. He was clearly not expecting to be accosted by 3 armed men.
I'm not armed.
Well,
yeah, this is a walking stick. It's a very nice walking stick, but it's a walking stick. I was trying to get an idea as to whether or not he's trying to actually bolt out of here, because if he could be of use to us for, say, healing, then I would want to see if we could acquire his services, so to speak. Otherwise, if he's bolting because he's got more nefarious means in mind, well, my intimidation is going to start coming into play.
Without further talking,
I guess I'm trying to get I'm trying to sense motive here.
Yeah, without directly talking to him further, you're unable to necessarily check at this instant. Right now, he is currently engaged in a conversation with Tarask, who just tried to steal his pouch. And he says, and he'll kind of turn to look at everybody, and he'll say, "I just want to go home. All right? Can I go?"
I look at him and say, "You seem to be really interested in the remains of our fight."
He'll say, "There's many things out here. The basilisks are a trove of wonderful, wonderful ingredients that you can use many. I digress. You wouldn't know anyway. But if you could just let me go."
Try me. At this point, I'll throw a little intimidation at him.
Okay, you can go ahead and roll. That'd be charisma intimidation check.
Okay, so total would be 3d6 then. 3d6 because I've got 1 point in intimidation. So
yep.
7.
Can I help out in that? Just looking the way I am.
Yeah, you can snarl. You can go ahead and also make a charisma
Intimidation.
intimidation roll.
That's 5d6 for me.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, what he said.
So that is 20.
Did you
Yeah.
roll 3 6s? Please say you did.
I did not. I'll sort of just growl and, have my lips curl up around my tusks.
He sees you and he shudders. He's like, ugh. And he's like, well, yes, I come out here and I take the eyes from the basilisk because you can do many wonderful things with their eyes, and I use them, but it's dangerous here. We shouldn't be here. We should go back to my house.
Well, unfortunately, I was helping lead the caravan, as you saw, and I still have work that must be done. You are welcome to join us. Perhaps we can be a benefit to each other.
He will say, no. Yeah, I live here. I have to go home. I'm not leaving. I've said too much already. And then he kind of mutters to himself. He's like, she would kill me if she... I have to go.
She?
Tarask would kind of just come in and say, if we're not going to go with them, I say we just let the bugger go.
Can you heal people? My new friends are injured.
He would stop and think about it for a second, and he'd say, well, I might be able to, but not here. I can't do it here because I don't have any of my equipment here. And without any of my equipment, I can't do anything like healing or spells or anything like that. So if you come back to my house, I might be able to help you. But I want you to help me, too. He's like, you all look like you're capable.
What type of help?
He says, well, let's just say that these basilisks out here, these creatures, these were babies.
Oh.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'm looking for one of the big ones. Oh, the eyes of the big ones. Oh, yes, that's what we need.
What do you plan to do when you find a big one?
He says, he looks at you kind of, and he's like, that's none of your business.
Wait for someone else to kill it for him.
That is his plan.
I have a feeling that if you faced one of the big ones, you wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
He frowns at you and he says, that is very offensive. Okay? I work long and hard, and there are risks involved in my job. And you're going to sit here and berate me? And he'll start talking, and he'll start kind of walking off in the direction that he was going before you accosted him.
I look over at my new compatriots. I look at him and say, should I knock him out? And I say it soft that they can hear, but he can't.
Well, I mean, he may be able to heal you. I certainly can't.
I mean, I'm not married to the caravan. I could go.
Yeah. I mean, you could set people to work on the caravan and we could go and then come back.
Okay. So that's what I'll do. I will gather up the people that are there. Um, just from my own general knowledge, how far have we been on our journey from the monastery up to this point?
Your best guess would be, I mean, you've traveled a few days. Your best guess would be that you are about 50 miles from home. But actually,
so
we'll say
going
30 to 50 miles. 30 to 50 miles from home.
So going to having someone go to get help back there, we're talking that's a week easily before they even got back. So to do anything with what we got here, I'd have to have the people who are here do what they can with what they got.
Yes, that's definitely your take on the situation. You are nowhere near civilization at the moment.
Okay, so that's what I'll do. I will kind of gather the group, all the the other monks that are there with me and everything else, and kind of explain the situation that I'm going to go with the small folk, see what he's able to do for us. Anything I can bring that will help them, I will be sure to do so. But for the time being, salvage what you can, gather, consolidate what you can into whatever we have left for transport, and I would anticipate that we should be back in a couple days most.
Yeah, they'll nod and they'll get right to work as though taking orders from a superior officer.
Okay. So I go over to them and I say, okay, let's go. We can head over to the small folk and then come back this way after we're done.
Okay, so do you all follow him then?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Okay. He'll kind of lead you through some parts of the swamp that are easier for him to traverse than you, given his small stature. And after about an hour of hobbling along, he stops and he'll pull away some leaves and revealing a small door with light emanating from inside. As he goes inside and you follow, of course, you'll have to bend down and get inside. And it's a small hut built into, made from sticks and mud and muck and everything. It's very warm inside. However, the air almost seems fresher in here than it does out in the swamp for some reason. And as you make your way inside, it's a bit more spacious horizontally than you expected it to be. Not vertically, but it's a bit more spacious than you expected it to be. And the first thing that you notice is, while the air is a little bit easier to breathe, it's almost a little too much easier to breathe in a way of, like, chemically. It seems that the air is almost too clean, too filtered. And there's a bit of an odor in here as well. It's an acidic odor that at first makes your eyes water until you get used to it. And then once you're used to it, you're like, okay. And it's very, very clean inside. There's no rubbish around and everything. And he'll disappear off into some other room and come back a few moments later, and he'll say, actually, before he comes back in, I want you guys to make a perception test as you enter in and you take in your surroundings.
I Korik has an 11.
Okay.
Same for Tarask.
10 for Dane.
Okay, so you all notice that there is a window to the left-hand side. And as you peer out the window, only for a moment because he makes his way back in from the other room, you notice outside there is a part of his little property, if you could call it that, that he has fenced off with this makeshift, like, it almost looks like an animal pen outside. And there are various other books and jars, lots of jars around. And he comes back and he says, okay. And he's got like a few herbs and everything in his hands. And he says, I think these will work. And he'll kind of look up at you guys and just kind of holding these herbs in his hands.
You think.
I was about to say the same thing.
He's like, well,
We chose the right cottage, guys.
he says, well, this is the herb of the golden, yeah, well, I'll have to consult my books. You know, it's kind of hit or miss. 50-50. It'll either, work really good, or you'll vomit a couple of days. We don't know until we try, right? And it's science. It's a win-win.
Hashtag Picard facepalm.
It's almost important that we know what
win-win.
It's almost
As
important that
the guy,
we know.
as the guy's motoring around, I look back over at the beginning and said, are you sure you don't want me to knock him out?
He'll say, it's almost as important that we know what doesn't work as we know what does work.
So you've never healed anyone before?
Well, I mean, not a person.
What have you healed?
And he'll say, animals. And he starts hobbling over to the kitchen, and he'll start chopping up the herbs. I'll hobble over to a cabinet, pull out a mortar and pestle.
Would he be touching? Like, are we? Do we have to stand? Sorry. Do I get the impression that I should stand carefully in this place, or is my natural boldness enough to where I would start poking around, or what? I guess basically what I'm asking is he paying attention to me?
He doesn't seem the very perceptive type. No, and he's currently seems to be taken with his current task of putting together some kind of mixture.
Okay. And Tarask is a very bold person, and a very forward person. So he's going to just start looking at things, touching things, moving jars, and looking at what's inside them.
And Korik will stand over his shoulder and sort of block his view and sort of like, why are you doing that? Like just asking him questions about, what he's doing and why he's doing it.
Is there a shelf that is, does he have a shelf that's like specifically books?
Oh yeah, there's as you walked in, it was the main living area, and to the left was the kitchen and the window, and to the right and center is the main living space where there's a small couch, a small chair, and a small library of books and a fireplace.
I'm going to go over to the books. The lore master in me is screaming, and I'm going to see if there are. I'm just curious to what he may have. I'm really curious. Anything of historical or magical significance?
Yeah, as you begin fishing through the books, we'll get back to that in just a second. First off, I want Korak to make a charisma. You're trying to distract him, basically.
Yes.
You caught on to what Tarask is doing.
Right.
And you're kind of like, so you're sneaking in and everything. So you're going to charisma, but it's not necessarily intimidation. Is there some other skill that you have that you might think would apply here?
My love of cooking, of new foods.
Oh, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Yes, add a 1d6 for that.
Okay.
That's his hook, is he loves to try new food. And so you'll start kind of talking about like, well, what kind of ingredients are in there that bring out the flavor? And you're like looking that bring out the flavors of the. What'd you roll?
15.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so you're able to fully distract him in a conversation about the role of spices in cooking and in overall food taste and things like that, and he kind of pushes back with argument because he's like, well I'm not a chef, and you keep talking like, well but you add this to the meat and then it really brings out the nuttiness of the, and he's like, well yeah, that's true, but I keep trying to tell you I'm not a chef. This isn't food. And in the meantime, Tarask is poking around, and you make your way kind of back into the back room where he went to go grab herbs and probably drop off whatever he had in his sack. And you come into this room, and it's completely lined to the brim with jars filled with eyeballs. And they seem to have been cleaned, and they're not bloody and dripping and all that kind of stuff. They're very meticulously ordered. There's small jars with the letter S on it for small, and they're clearly smaller eyeballs. And then as that shelf goes on, you get to the middle, and then there's M for medium. And there's, of course, there's fewer eyeballs in these jars. And then as you go around, you notice that the jars become sparser and sparser. And to the point where there's like maybe 5 large jars that have large eyes in them that maybe have like 2 eyes floating in them. And then there's one jar all the way to the right that is a big jar, like probably the diameter of a bowling ball and the height of a big book. So it's a big cylinder, and inside of it is one, and it's got XL, and then underlined and one big eye floating in it, with enough room to fit another one in there. It was Dane. You were looking in the bookshelf. You see a lot of books on basic chemistry, like really basic chemistry, and everything. Nothing that strikes your fancy in terms of lore. But then you come across a book that seems like really out of place, because while the other books were clearly as professionally as medieval books could be made, they were bound nicely. The parchment was a nice paper, and the scribe who copied into these books had very beautiful handwriting, and the pages were clearly treated with chemical to make them resistant to aging and so on and so forth. Though he's got a lot of nice books, but then you come across this one book that looks like it was made by a child almost, and it looks like it's nowhere near the quality of the other books. Okay. And when you pick it up and you look at it, you see up top it says, hold on, let me pull up. It says Tobias Elvelin the Magnificent, and then for the title it says The Breeding and Husbandry of Basilisks. And then as you flip through it, it's copious notes about various like breeding patterns and different experiments of basically breeding different types of basilisks together and recording the results.
Okay.
Okay, so for the sake of right now, what happens next is he will kind of break out of the conversation he's not really trying to have with Korak, and he sees you over there flipping through a book, and he's like, hey, what are you doing over there looking up? What are you doing? And then you all feel the ground go, and you can all feel everything shake. Tarask, in the room you're in, you hear the jars kind of jingle together. Ching, 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 ching. And that's where we'll stop for tonight.
I have a feeling we're about to meet the big one.
So,
Yes.
so just so you know where that ends, or at least the last shot of me, when it rattles, my hands go up. I'm like, I didn't do it. I'm not doing it.